So let me share with you a few things. You may ask me later, okay, Father, why St. John uses only intellect, memory, and will? No more. There are more, but he chooses to include in his work these three faculties: intellect, memory, and will, because they are the primary ways through which the soul relates to God and must be purified in the journey. St. John is influenced by St. Thomas Aquinas. So he's influenced by the scholastic theology and tradition that teaches the intellect is how we find the truth through the intellect, through the brain, and the will loves the truth when we find it. But St. John of the Cross decided to include memory, because as we said, in memory there is a storage, and memory reminds us of where we came from. We came from God, and we are supposed to go to God. You see, memory is very important. We came from nothing. I mean, yeah, God created us. We're not gods like him, eternal, but he created us in a loving way, and he created us in his image and likeness, so we have a memory of God. We remember who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. So John uses the three faculties not as a psychological analysis, but as a spiritual, mystical map to help us to understand the journey, what we go through, a framework. There are other faculties, but they're lower faculties, and I mean the senses, the emotions, and imagination. Those are faculties, and he talks in his book about them too. But he chooses to talk about the higher faculties, which are the three. And the others are subs, and he talks about them. He deals with them in details. The three faculties are not always strictly sequential. A soul may move back and forth between them. And what I mean by that, so you may understand, like we go through linear, right? The experience is first the senses are purified and purged, and then the intellect, but on the journey we go back and forth. It doesn't mean when my senses are purified I have no attachment to earthly things anymore. No. I mean, we may end up being attached, and then we detach ourselves. So on the journey, we move back and forth. It's not like strict. Okay? Those things they help us to understand. And the last thing I want to talk to you about are the three stages of spiritual life: the purgative, illuminative, and unitive, that lead to spiritual marriage. Yeah, there is a spiritual marriage between us and God. And that's, if we don't fulfill in this life, that's when we will experience the regret and the remorse at the end. We missed it. So purgative is to go through purification. And illuminative, once we are purified, we receive the illumination. We are able to see the light of God. That means habitually I become a good person. I sin less. I experience, or I show more virtues. I see a difference in my life. I'm not an angel yet, But things change in my life. And to enter the third stage, the unitive with God, to lead me to that final spiritual marriage, we go through the purgation of the spirit, which is harder internally because it's spiritual. And it's the work of God more than myself. So I need to let go of myself. In the senses we may contribute, but in the spiritual, it's God's work more than ours. So that's why we need to be more passive when God is active. Shall we leave time for